Have you ever wondered why you click with some people instantly and not with others? Well, what if I told you that attraction isn't just random luck? What if it's actually a language you can learn to speak fluently? Today, we're diving deep into Alina Chamberlain's work to give you a strategic guide for building real, powerful connections. This quote right here, it gets to the very heart of everything we're talking about today. This isn't about playing games or being someone you're not. It's about a simple, powerful truth. We all have a primary channel through which we experience attraction. The real art is figuring out what that channel is in someone else and speaking to it with precision, and, of course, with authenticity. So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to decode this secret language. Then we'll break down the 4 main sensory channels. After that, we're getting into a super practical field guide for each type of guy. We'll cover a powerful multisensory technique. And then finally, we'll talk about how you can become the true architect of your connections. Okay, so the biggest takeaway here is that attraction is not this chaotic, mysterious thing we can't control. Nope. It's actually processed through very distinct sensory languages. Just understanding which language a man speaks is the first huge step, but learning to speak it back to him, honestly, that's a superpower. So, what are these languages of attraction exactly? Well, they break down into 4 basic dialects of desire, and they're all based on how we process the world around us. There's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and digital. Now, check this out, because this breakdown is really fascinating. While we're all a bit of a mix, most of us lean heavily on one dominant channel. And you'll notice that visual is the most common, at around 40%. The other 3, auditory, kinesthetic, and the superlogical digital, are all split pretty evenly. This gives you a massive clue about the kind of man you're most likely to meet out in the world. All right, this is where we put all that theory into action. I want you to think of this next part as your personal field guide. It's designed to help you spot, understand, and really connect with each of these 4 different archetypes in the wild. First up, we've got the most common one of the bunch, the visual architect. For this man, that old saying is 100% true. For him, seeing is wanting. His desire is sparked and processed almost entirely through his eyes. But hold on, it's so much deeper than just looking good. He's captivated by aesthetic harmony. The whole picture. He's the guy who notices your facial expressions, the confidence in your walk. He's even mesmerized by the way a piece of fabric moves when you walk. It's all part of the packaging, that complete silhouette that grabs and holds his attention. So, how do you speak his language? Well, the hook is to use slow, deliberate movements. Really let him drink in your presence visually. And the absolute no-go? Darkness. He needs light. He wants to see what the source calls the theater of your seduction. Hiding in the shadows is literally the fastest way to lose him. Okay, now let's do a complete 180 and shift our senses. It's time to meet our second archetype, the auditory symphony. For this man, the most direct path to his desire isn't through his eyes at all. It's through his ears. You see, for him, the sound of your voice, the pitch, the rhythm, that warmth, can literally trigger a physical response in him that no visual ever could. He craves great conversation, sure, but what he wants even more is to feel like he's truly, deeply being heard. The hook here is all about your voice. It's about mastering a slightly lower, warmer tone and using words that are sensory and musical. And a pro tip, complimenting his voice can create an instant connection. His absolute taboo? Long, cold silences. For the auditory man, silence is definitely not golden. It's the end of the conversation. Next up, we meet the man who lives through sensation, the kinesthetic soul. For him, attraction is a full-body experience. It's all processed through feeling, texture, and of course, touch. This guy literally lives through his skin. Excitement for him only really hits its peak when there's some kind of tactile interaction. He's incredibly sensitive to the texture of your hair, the perfume you're wearing, even just the overall feel of the room. And this right here says it all. He will notice how soft your skin is long before he ever notices the color of your dress. So the hook is to use those little accidental touches, a light brush of the hand. But you know what's even more powerful? Something the source calls a phantom touch. By letting him see you touch your own neck or your arm, you can actually trigger that same sensation in his body. And his biggest turnoff? Physical distance. If you lose that tactile contact, you lose his interest. It's that simple. And that brings us to our final and most analytical archetype, the digital intellectual. This is the man who is seduced not by what he sees, hears, or feels, but by what he thinks. It's all about the mind. See, this man doesn't just fall in love. Nope. He decides to be with someone, and it's usually after a pretty deep analysis of their value. He's drawn to intelligence, to success, to complexity. He's looking for a partner who feels like a worthy long-term investment. For him, a sharp, ambitious mind is the ultimate turn-on. So, the hook isn't physical at all. It's mental. Engage him in a debate, show him your ambition, let him see how you've structured your life. And his big taboo: superficiality and indifference. That whole go-with-the-flow attitude without any clear goal or purpose, he finds that incredibly unattractive. Okay, so we've met all 4 archetypes. But let's be real. Life is messy, and people are almost never just one thing, right? This is where we go from just knowing the theory to true mastery. This is the multisensory technique. The reality is, most men are hybrids, a mix of visual, auditory, or maybe visual kinesthetic. The secret to what Chamberlain calls professional mastery is learning how to layer your signals. You start with the most common channel, a little visual bait. Then you anchor it with an auditory hook. And finally, you seal the deal with a kinesthetic touch. Let's make this super concrete with a simple exercise called the triple threat technique. Step 1 is visual. Catch his eye, give him a slow smile. Step 2 is auditory. Lean in and whisper a compliment in a low, warm voice. And step 3, kinesthetic. Let your hand linger on his arm for just a beat longer than you normally would. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful. So, when you put this all together, what's the ultimate goal here? It all comes down to empowerment. This framework isn't about playing games at all. It's about seeing attraction for what it really is, the art of masterful, conscious communication. And that brings me to a final thought for you. As you look back on your own experiences, which of these archetypes do you recognize the most? The visual architect, the auditory symphony, maybe the kinesthetic soul, or the digital intellectual? Just starting to think this way can be a total game changer for how you understand your past connections and your future ones too. Because ultimately, this knowledge gives you a choice. You can keep leaving attraction up to chance, or you can pick up the blueprints and become the architect of the connections that you truly want and deserve. The choice is yours.
You can find the electronic version of book She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain at wishforlove.org.